I learned something working the night shift. People don't always steal your work. Sometimes they just slowly take the credit until it looks like it was never yours to begin with. I used to work the front desk at a small hotel. Night shift. If you've ever worked nights, you know the feeling. The world goes quiet, but your mind doesn't. The hum of the vending machine, the faint buzz of fluorescent lights overhead, the occasional ding of the front door opening, echoing louder than it should in an empty lobby. It was just the two of us most nights, me and Eric, and in a place that small, with only 2 people on shift, you can't really hide who's doing the work. Or at least, you shouldn't be able to. But Eric found a way. He had this skill, not for working, but for looking like he was working. He'd stand behind the desk, shuffle papers, check the same screen over and over. Meanwhile, the real tasks, wiping down the sticky coffee station, restocking key cards, prepping breakfast for the morning crew. Those things somehow always ended up on me. At first, I didn't think too much about it. I told myself, it's fine, just get through the shift. But over time, you start noticing patterns. You start noticing how every morning when the manager walked in, Eric would suddenly come alive. His voice would change. Confident, polished. He'd list off tasks like he'd been running the entire operation, and I'd just stand there, listening, because technically, the work asterisk was asterisk done, just not by him. And the worst part? No one asked questions. The thing that finally got to me was something small, almost stupid. Waffle batter. Every night, part of closing duties was prepping breakfast for the morning shift. One specific step mattered more than it should have. Taking the waffle batter out of the freezer so it could thaw in time. Simple. Easy. Technically, it was a shared responsibility. But in reality, it only got done because of me. Not because I did it every time, but because I reminded Eric every shift. Around 7 a.m. Like clockwork. Hey, don't forget the waffle batter. And he'd nod, like he had it under control. I didn't remind him to help him. I reminded him because I knew what would happen if it got missed. Morning shift wouldn't care whose fault it was. They'd complain about both of us, so I carried that responsibility quietly. I froze. For a second, I actually questioned myself. Did I miss something? But deep down, I knew that wasn't the truth. That was a story, and he'd been telling it long enough that he almost believed it himself. That was the moment something in me snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly. I remember thinking, okay, if that's the version of me you want them to see, then let's see how well you do without me. Until one morning, everything shifted. Eric was talking to the manager. I wasn't even part of the conversation at first, just standing there organizing receipts. Then I heard my name. He said I was forgetful, that I missed closing details, and that he was the one who always caught things behind me. I froze. For a second, I actually questioned myself. Did I miss something? But deep down, I knew that wasn't the truth. That was a story, and he'd been telling it long enough that he almost believed it himself. That was the moment something in me snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly. I remember thinking, okay, if that's the version of me you want them to see, then let's see how well you do without me. That night felt different. Same lobby, same humming lights, same empty chairs. But I wasn't moving the same way. I still did my job. Every task, every detail. Coffee station? clean. Key cards, restocked. Reports, done. I wasn't going to give him anything to point at, except one thing. 5:15 a.m. came. I saw the clock tick over. My chest tightened a little. Out of habit, my brain whispered, "Say it, just remind him. Avoid the problem." I almost did. I really did. Because part of me didn't want the fallout, didn't want the complaints, didn't want the tension. But another part of me, the quieter, steadier part, said, "No." So I stayed silent. Eric didn't notice. Course he didn't. Why would he? The system had always worked for him. That was the point. One night passed. Nothing happened. Second night, still quiet. By the third shift, I could feel it coming. That morning, the breakfast attendant walked in like usual. A few minutes later, I heard it. The freezer door. A pause. Then, "Why is the waffle batter still frozen?" Her voice cut through the lobby. Sharp, confused. The manager stepped in. "What happened?" And just like that, everything slowed down. Eric spoke first. Course he did. I thought she handled that part. He didn't even hesitate. Didn't look at me. Just redirected. For a split second, I felt that old instinct again. To defend myself, to explain, to fix it. But I didn't say anything. Because this time, I didn't have to. The manager looked at him. Calm, quiet, and then she said it. "I thought you said you'd always double check behind her." Silence. Heavy, immediate. You could feel it in the air. Eric didn't respond. Didn't have anything to say. Because for the first time, there was nothing to hide behind. No reminder. No backup. No illusion. Just the truth. Standing there, he didn't get fired. Nothing dramatic like that. But something changed after that day. You could see it in how he moved. Less talking, more doing. The coffee station stayed clean. The prep got done, and somehow he started remembering the waffle batter every time without me saying a word. And me? I learned something important. You don't always have to fight people. You don't always have to call them out. Sometimes you just stop holding things together for them and let reality do the rest. Because the moment you remove the support they never appreciated, that's when the truth shows.